On February 25, 1836, the City Saloon in New York City was crowded with curious citizens. Inside, 1,500 paying spectators eagerly awaited a spectacle that would shock them. At the center of all the commotion lay the lifeless body of a black woman whose story had caught the attention of a whole nation, Joyce Heth. Who is she? Why did a public autopsy of her corpse spark the interest of many? And why was there a public autopsy in the first place? Join us as we travel back in time and unravel the mysterious story behind Joyce Heth. In 19th century America, where the echoes of revolutions still lingered and the nation was on the brink of change, a mysterious figure came to light. Joyce Heth, a woman whose past was veiled in mystery, entered the spotlight of history, sparking curiosity and intrigue among the masses. Let's explore the details of Joyce Heth's story. Joyce Heth was born into slavery, her early years veiled in mystery with no clear record of her origins. Some speculated she was born on a remote African island, while others believed she came from the plantations of the American South. In 1835, she became the property of John S. Bowling and was put on display for sale in Louisville, Kentucky. Later that same year, she was sold to promoters R.W. Lindsay and Coley Bartram. However, her life was forever altered when she captured the attention of P.T. Barnum. P.T. Barnum, also known as Phineas Taylor Barnum, was born in 1810. He was indeed a legendary figure in American history. He was not merely a showman, but a master of manipulation and exploitation, whose legacy is tinged with controversy and moral ambiguity. While Barnum's name is often associated with grandeur, his methods were often questionable at best. He was notorious for his knack for exaggeration and deception, manipulating the truth to suit his own purposes. Moving on with the story, Barnum, ever the opportunist, recognized in Joyce Heth a tale waiting to be told, a story that would capture the hearts of a nation. With his gift for drama and promotion, he crafted a narrative that would set the stage for one of the most extraordinary shows of the era. In early 1835, Barnum received a tip from R.W. Lindsay, a showman from Kentucky, regarding a remarkable woman named Joyce Heth. Intrigued by the prospect, Barnum ventured to meet her and was met with a sight that left an indelible impression. Joyce Heth, an elderly woman of advanced age, greeted him with thick grey hair, clouded eyesight, and talon-like fingernails, all hallmarks of her elderly state. Despite her physical frailty, what struck Barnum most was her remarkable redundancy and fondness for recounting tales of caring for her dear little Georgie. Lindsay, recognizing the potential profitability of Joyce Heth's story, sought to capitalize on the public's fascination and adoration with the nation's first president, George Washington. He claimed that Joyce Heth has a strong connection with one of the founding figures of American history. Sensing an opportunity to generate publicity and profit, Barnum struck a deal with Lindsay to lease Joyce Heth for a year. The terms of the agreement allowed Barnum to manage and promote Joyce Heth as he saw fit, in exchange for a portion of the profits generated from her exhibitions. When Joyce Heth was exhibited on August 11, 1835, at Niblo's Garden in New York City, she was already blind from old age and almost completely paralyzed. She could only talk and had some ability to move her right arm. Despite her state, they still decided to push through with exhibiting the elderly woman. At the center of it all was a daring claim that Joyce Heth had served as the aged nursemaid of George Washington himself, the revered leader of the nation. This assertion would quickly spread across the land, and many individuals would want to see this for themselves. Deep inside, Barnum knew that this was a genius idea. But why would this be a good idea in the first place? Well, here are the reasons why. George Washington holds a revered place in American history as the first president of the United States and a key figure in the nation's founding. Any individual connected to him, even tangentially, would automatically garner attention and interest. Serving as the nursemaid to a figure as esteemed as George Washington would have imbued Joyce Heth with a sense of historical significance and prestige. It symbolized a direct link to the nation's founding and added an aura of authenticity to her story. Additionally, people are naturally drawn to the extraordinary and the unusual. The idea of an individual living to such an advanced age and having personal connections to historical figures piqued curiosity and generated fascination, driving public interest in Joyce Heth's exhibition. In a rapidly changing world, people often seek connections to the past as a means of grounding themselves and understanding their place in the world. The notion of encountering someone who had personally interacted with a revered historical figure like George Washington offered a tangible link to the past and a sense of continuity with history. Now, going back to the story, as word spread of Joyce Heth's supposed link to the founding father, more and more people became intrigued, eager to witness this phenomenon for themselves. From the busy city streets to the quiet rural communities, individuals from all backgrounds traveled to see her, filled with curiosity and anticipation. With Joyce Heth under his management, Barnum orchestrated a series of elaborate exhibitions and performances designed to showcase her supposed connection to George Washington and her remarkable age. Barnum spared no effort in crafting a story that would charm audiences and draw crowds from far and wide. In a bold move to bolster Joyce Heth's fabricated backstory, Barnum crafted a counterfeit bill of sale allegedly dating back to the 18th century. This fraudulent document claimed to establish a connection between Joyce Heth and the esteemed Washington family. Armed with this deceitful artifact, Barnum set his sights on New York, eager to unveil what he boldly touted as George Washington's nursing mammy. One of the key activities Barnum had Joyce Heth engage in was storytelling. During her exhibitions, she would regale audiences with captivating tales of her treasured experiences as George Washington's nursemaid. Barnum ensured that these stories were embellished with vivid details and dramatic flair, adding to the mystique surrounding Joyce Heth's alleged past. In addition to storytelling, Barnum had Joyce Heth participate in public appearances and interviews. He arranged for her to interact with journalists and reporters, allowing them to ask questions about her life and experiences. These interviews were carefully arranged by Barnum to further reinforce the narrative he was promoting and to generate buzz and excitement among the public. Barnum staged dramatic reenactments featuring Joyce Heth as a central figure. These reenactments often depicted scenes from George Washington's early life, with Joyce Heth playing a significant role as his devoted nursemaid. Barnum spared no expense in ensuring that these performances were visually stunning and emotionally impactful, drawing audiences deeper into the narrative he had crafted. Barnum also leveraged the power of visual imagery to promote Joyce Heth's story. He commissioned portraits and illustrations depicting her alongside George Washington, further cementing the idea of her connection to the revered founding father in the public's mind. These images were widely circulated in newspapers, pamphlets, and promotional materials, helping to fuel curiosity and anticipation for Joyce Heth's exhibitions. But through all of the fame and recognition she was getting, there were whispers of mistreatment surrounding Joyce Heth's time under Barnum's management. One story suggests that Barnum may have subjected Heth to additional hardship by getting her drunk and having her remaining teeth forcibly removed. The supposed goal: to make her appear more convincingly like a 161-year-old woman. However, whether this tale holds any truth is uncertain, as it's unclear if Heth was already toothless when Barnum first encountered her. But aside from this, we cannot deny the other hardships Joyce has endured with her fragile body. The first one would be her living conditions. As the star in Barnum's exhibition, Joyce Heth would have been subjected to challenging living conditions. Traveling with the circus or exhibition troupe meant she likely lived in cramped quarters, often without proper sanitation or adequate rest. The nomadic lifestyle would have been physically taxing, especially for an elderly woman supposedly in her 160s. The next one would be the lack of medical care. Given the era's limited medical knowledge and resources, it's doubtful that Joyce Heth received proper medical care and attention. If she experienced health issues or discomfort, there would have been little solution for treatment beyond basic remedies, if any were provided at all. This lack of medical care could worsen any existing health conditions or discomfort she experienced. Lastly, the emotional toll. Being suddenly put in the public eye as an attraction would likely have been emotionally difficult for Joyce Heth. She might have felt alone, taken advantage of, and treated like an object by being displayed for public amusement. Having people constantly watching her and paying close attention to her every move, along with having no privacy or control over her own life, could have deeply affected her emotional health. Regardless of the validity of these claims, the fact that such stories circulated speaks volumes about the exploitative nature of Barnum's treatment of this vulnerable elderly woman, who lacked the ability to defend herself. The mere existence of these allegations highlights the troubling manner in which Barnum effectively took advantage of Joyce Heth, exploiting her vulnerability for his own benefit. However, this did not take a long time because as Joyce Heth's story continued to unfold, tragedy struck with her untimely demise. On February 19, 1836, only a few months after being taken by Barnum, Joyce Heth died of tuberculosis, leaving behind a legacy shrouded in controversy and intrigue. The news of her passing spread like wildfire throughout the nation, stirring emotions and sparking renewed debate about her true identity and the authenticity of her claims. The circumstances surrounding Joyce Heth's death have been the subject of controversy and speculation. Some have suggested that Barnum may have exploited Joyce Heth for profit during her final days, while others believe that her death may have been hastened by the stress and strain of her public exhibitions. However, lurking beneath all the mystery, a sense of doubt filled the air, overshadowing the exhibition. As Joyce Heth's story gained traction and reached a wider audience, skeptics and critics emerged, questioning the validity of her remarkable claims. They meticulously examined every aspect, from Joyce Heth's alleged age and her death, to the legitimacy of her connection to George Washington. Sadly, even in death, Joyce Heth did not achieve peace as Barnum arranged for a public autopsy to satisfy the public's curiosity about Joyce's life. He hired a well-known surgeon, Dr. David L. Rogers, to perform the autopsy on February 25, 1836, in front of a crowd of 1,500 people at New York's City Saloon. Barnum charged admission of 50 cents to attend the event. Before the autopsy, Barnum heavily promoted it to draw in as many spectators as possible. People from all over were eager to witness this historic event and see if it would reveal the truth about Joyce Heth's life. When the day arrived, the atmosphere was eerie as the crowd awaited the surgeon's findings. Dr. Rogers carefully conducted the autopsy, explaining his observations to the captivated audience. Dr. Rogers revealed that Joyce Heth's internal organs showed signs of advanced age, indicating that she was indeed elderly. However, he concluded that she could not have been as old as claimed by Barnum, suggesting that her age was likely exaggerated. Additionally, Dr. Rogers noted that Joyce Heth's physique and condition did not align with someone of extreme old age. While she showed signs of aging, her overall health and vitality suggested that she was not as old as what people believed to be. These findings cast doubt on Barnum's claims regarding Joyce Heth's age and her alleged connection to George Washington. After the autopsy revealed discrepancies in the stories surrounding Joyce Heth, Barnum faced significant public scrutiny and criticism. However, rather than conceding defeat, Barnum doubled down on his efforts to maintain the narrative he had crafted. Despite the findings of the autopsy, Barnum continued to promote Joyce Heth's story, insisting that she was indeed George Washington's former nursemaid and dismissing the doubts raised by Dr. David L. Rogers' examination. He employed various tactics to deflect attention away from the controversy surrounding Joyce Heth's age and authenticity, including launching public relations campaigns and engaging in damage control efforts. Ultimately, Joyce Heth's death marked the end of one chapter in Barnum's career, but it also foreshadowed the controversies that would continue to surround him in the years to come. One such tactic involved spreading outlandish stories to discredit the results of the autopsy. Barnum concocted rumors suggesting that Dr. Rogers had conducted the autopsy on a completely different individual, casting doubt on the authenticity of the examination. Next, he circulated tales claiming that Joyce Heth was alive and well, embarking on a tour across Europe. By disseminating these fantastical narratives, Barnum sought to maintain the mystique surrounding Joyce Heth and deflect scrutiny from the doubts raised by the autopsy. Despite the absurdity of these claims, they served to fuel speculation, further cementing Barnum's reputation as a master showman. It was in 1869 that Barnum finally confessed that the body examined during the autopsy was indeed Heth's. However, he claimed that he had been completely convinced by her stories and genuinely believed she was over 100 years old, pretending to be a victim of the woman's tales. Despite her huge importance to his early career, Barnum seldom discussed Heth following her passing. He laid her to rest in his hometown of Bethel, Connecticut, and declared that the proceeds from her exhibitions would go towards liberating her grandchildren from slavery, although this assertion was likely untrue. She received only a brief mention in his 1869 memoir, Struggles and Triumphs, where he portrayed himself as the victim of a cunning fraudster. Even today, the story of Joyce Heth continues to puzzle historians and researchers. Despite their best efforts, much of her life remains a mystery, leaving us to wonder about the circumstances surrounding her time on display. Without clear answers, all we have are guesses and questions, leaving the mystery of Joyce Heth to linger as a reminder of the many things we still don't know about the past. Thanks for tuning in to this incredible journey delving into the life of Joyce Heth, the old slave who was worked to death. It's amazing how stories from the past can still captivate us today. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more fascinating tales from the past. Stay curious, stay connected, and stay tuned for our next exploration into the fascinating world of history. Until then, see you in the next video.